Hi ladies, I'd like to talk to you about what is divine feminine energy. There's a lot of ideas out there about what it might be or what it might look like, but what really is it and how do we know that that's truly divine feminine energy? Well, I'm going to share with you some of the teachings that come from the Kabbalistic system on the divine feminine, because I find that these really relate to the process of creation itself, how our universe came to be. And for us as women, we are meant to be the embodiment of that divine feminine energy. The divine feminine, in a way, you can say is like the womb of creation. So that means that we also can become that womb of what gets created into our world. Now, in the Kabbalistic system, the feminine is what contains. The feminine is this really powerful energy of containment, of creating form, whereas the masculine is more this powerful energy of force and expansion and pushing the light out into new directions. Whereas the feminine comes in to contain it and to give that life force energy expression in the realm of form. So as we as women are meant to help create that container. And the container you could see metaphorically or symbolically as the womb. And so as women, sometimes we often have challenges in our womb because there's a lot of sexual energy that is stored within that. And if there's any traumas or any place within us where we may feel ashamed of anything, where we may feel like we are not divine, that we are not good enough, then that energy gets stored and held within our womb. And then from there, what flows through gets created, but it's always going to feel a little bit lackluster or like it's not quite enough. Or there might be some kind of distortion or shame, or we might feel some guilt around what it is we're creating, whether it's measuring up to what we think other people expect. So this is something we really need to change. And I've talked about that in some of the other videos of this series of how to heal from those things. But here, let's come back to the divine essence of the feminine. Now, first of all, in the Kabbalistic system, they say that divine feminine and divine masculine are equally powerful, equally important, equally involved in the process of creation. And the divine feminine, though, is going to express itself and its power in a very different way than the divine masculine. So if the divine masculine is meant to initiate things, to set the direction or set the course, it's moving outwardly, it's force energy. The divine feminine and its way of creating is more one of receptivity, yes, but also of containing, holding that container for creation, holding the vision and the image of what is to be created and holding it so strongly in the inner core of oneself that it continues to nurture and grow within us, that it's like we come into such coherence within our total being with what it is we want to create, that then it just automatically will birth or manifest into the world as that. So in a way, it's a little more of a magical way to create from the inner to the outer versus a process of I have to go out and do, versus that outward oriented, action oriented way of doing things. This is much more done on the inner planes, and yet it's equally powerful, and sometimes even more powerful because we don't really understand like how did that come to be? I don't know. All we can say is, well, it must have been magic, or it just is a law of attraction, or we kind of give it some name, but there is a process by how that happens. Now, in the creation of the universe, for example, in that Big Bang, we had all that explosion of energy going out and particles and light and all of this kind of stuff. That is the masculine aspect of creation. But equally, we have the containment come in. We have the forces that bind things together. We have this ability to unite these particles, to give them some form of laws and rules that they have to follow, some form of structure, some kind of boundaries to bring things into form. So for example, in the Big Bang creation process, the laws of physics themselves become the feminine, as does also the fabric of space-time becomes like that womb within which things are created inside to become the universe that we know. So the feminine is very much this container for creation. And whatever she holds within her womb space, or whatever she holds inside of herself, that is what will ultimately be birthed. But just like a mother who's carrying a baby to full term, there's, a process, there's time that is required to allow what is held within to grow into its full readiness to actually be birthed into the world. So that means that the divine feminine requires patience, requires just this waiting period to hold and know that even though there's not an outward process of activity happening, we know things are happening inside to bring that new idea or that new form that's going to be birthed to its full readiness, to its full sort of potency in that pregnant state, so to speak, before it comes out. So the feminine needs to have actually a lot of discipline in exercising that patience for things to come into being. We can't be expecting these instant results like we want to see often in our world today, because there's a process that needs to happen. There's an incubation period that needs to happen. And so the feminine qualities are qualities of patience, qualities of birthing, qualities of nurturing what is growing inside of us to be birthed, continuing to hold a space of love and nurturing care for that baby, so to speak, whether it's a physical or a symbolic baby that's going to be birthed. We're bringing that love, and there's that glow of the mother, that excitement of what is coming from her and the movement that is happening inside as she is preparing, to bring this new form into the world. So all of these qualities, that patience, the discipline of waiting, and yet still taking care of oneself and what is being nurtured and grown within us, these are all very important feminine qualities. And the world needs those qualities. We need to share those not only with ourselves and what it is we're trying to birth, but also with whoever it is we're co-creating with. Whether it be a team, on a creative project, they need to have that sense of, okay, there's patience, there's a timing process here, there's a nurturing and a care and a love that's coming into this. We're all in this together. We're co-creating something magical and amazing. And so, let's feel that even though it may not be happening instantly, we know and we trust that things are going to unfold in their proper order and their proper flow and timing. And the men in the world also need to feel that care and nurture and love from the feminine, and learn that sense of patience as well from the feminine. So these are qualities we really need in our world today. So the feminine is very much this portal for creation to come into the world. And we want to, as women, recognize the innate value and power that we have embodied within us because we embody the feminine, because we are women. And so as portals of creation and manifestation into this world, number one, just recognize your innate value. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to demonstrate your worthiness. You are worthy because you are a portal for divine energy to flow into this physical world. Now, when that energy comes in, it's going to come first from that source, from the spirit into us. And we want to in order to manifest this flow of energy from source, from the light, without distortions, there's a couple key things that we really want to do. Number one, we want to learn to quiet the mind. Because as we quiet the mind, our thoughts, our sort of ways in which we might get into lower human thinking or negative thinking, or we might block that flow of the light in any way, when our mind is quiet, there is no block. It just flows right through. We are transparent. And then our intuitive awareness opens up to what is trying to come in from the spirit, from the source. And as we intuitively come to know and understand that divine will that's coming in, we will accept it. We will receive it into us, and we will then, from the quiet mind, be able to bring it into our heart. And as we accept and embrace that in our heart, and we allow that light to fill our heart, and we blend it with love, with a sense of that divine love, that feminine energy of care and nurture, and a desire to do good, a desire to serve in some way, a devotion to serving and making this world a better place. As we bring that into our heart, we combine it with that flame of love within us. Then the next thing is to bring it into the womb. And in the womb, we will receive it into that container for creation, allow it to grow and nurture and come to full fruition within us until it becomes feeling very full. All that energy of life force has accumulated around it. And, we've had maybe some co-creative collaboration with others where we can bring it into full manifestation. And then we birth it. Then it manifests through, and hopefully it will come through with a sense of passion and excitement and aliveness for life. So quiet mind, a heart full of love and readiness to accept that light in, and then bringing it into the womb, trusting and collaborating and co-creating with others, but bringing it to full term and fruition from the inner planes, the magic of the inner creation process that is very powerful. And just by holding it inside and letting it come to that fullness within us and that total coherence within, then it will manifest, it will be birthed. And from there, we can then pass it off to those who are ready to take the action, or we step into our more masculine side and we start taking the actions at that point. But first, there's this very powerful inward creative process that happens with the divine feminine. And it is super powerful. So if you just really start to focus on that way of creating from the feminine and really give it some test runs, just instead of feeling like I have to assert myself and I have to do it myself and I have to get out there and take the actions, just work on the inner process. Work on the quiet mind, receiving it from the source, bringing that love in, and then really holding it in your womb and just visualizing everything come in with all your five senses, all of the best that you can imagine in terms of the ultimate manifestation of what is coming through, and then who do we need to co-create with and collaborate with to bring this to full fruition. And then let it be birthed, then let it be set into motion so that it can manifest. So this is the formula for how we really honor the divine feminine and create from that feminine place of empowerment. And I hope that you've enjoyed this. And if there's anyone that you think who might also really benefit from hearing some of this and that you want to share, go ahead and share it with them. Feel free. And join me next time as we also explore into what is the divine masculine role and how do we honor that and work with that in a really beautiful, synergistic, and co-creative way. So I hope you've enjoyed. Please do like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we will look forward to seeing you next time.